Anyway, let's start this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be really interesting. I really hope Craig picks up just how soft you are right now.
Fucking dead.
Hey.
Anyway, now we're gonna have to do something that deals with Christian apologetics. I hate this.
What the fuck are we reading?
Reading
Narnia
Chronicles of
fanfiction.
Narnia fanfiction.
Oh. Oh, right.
Chronicles of Narnia is the least subtle Bible allegory since the Man of Steel.
Alright.
I will say that is my favorite argument whenever people get upset about people making fun of DC, is that you just don't get it. It's like, no. There's straight up a scene in Man of Steel in which you have Clark Kent in the foreground and a picture of Jesus in the background. Or the time when he leaves the ship, T-posing in the whole, like, cross formation. We get it. He's Jesus. Stop. He's Jesus with super strength. We get it already. Don't tell me that I don't get the symbolism. The symbolism shoved down my throat harder than just about anything on a Friday night.
Is that why people don't like Man of Steel?
No, they don't like Man of Steel because it's a shit movie.
That's their
Alright.
opinion then.
It's one of the most obnoxious fucking superhero movies I've ever had the displeasure of watching.
Well, you see, I actually rather enjoyed it, but then again, we've established my taste is different.
Yeah, you don't tend to think much about the media you take in.
Depends on the media, really.
Yeah.
If I go to a movie, I don't want to pick it apart for philosophical things. I just want to have a good story and a good time.
Yeah, anything coming out of Hollywood isn't something I'm going to take in a very professional manner, as in something I'm like, oh, I should think hard about this. It's fucking Hollywood.
Well, it's kind of the whole thing, is that part of the enjoyment of the movie is the message.
Nah.
I'm more of the adventure along the way was the cool part than the ending result was.
Anyway, we're doing a fucking Narnia fanfiction by the name of Unexpected Love by Ariel Ann 04 on fanfiction.net. Link to this will be in the description. Don't send them hate, you fucking degenerates. Alright. We're starting with this note/disclaimer. This fanfiction will contain some actual dialogue from Prince Caspian. Oh dear God, not again. I thought we escaped the Tom and Jerry style fanfictions.
That's some, not all. Well, let's keep an open mind here. It might not just be word for word copying an entire paragraph, but we'll see.
Hey, I just hope this isn't like our Shrek fanfiction that had a. Oh, sorry, I can't hear you when you're talking right now. My bad. What were you saying?
That I'm going to open Tom's mind with a circle saw.
Wow. Tom, how about you stay with me instead? I won't circle saw you. I'll just square saw you.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Sorry, I'm in a salty mood right now. I'm very exhausted.
All right.
And Tom talking down to me earlier wasn't helping.
Tom's not talking down to you. He's too good of a good boy to do that.
I thought you were going to say he's too short to do that.
I don't really remember how tall you are, Tom, so...
I'm like half an inch shorter than Llytic.
Ah, so you're taller than me.
I have the high ground.
So if anything, I'm the one who's going to be talking up to people. Anyways, what I was trying to say, I just hope this isn't another fanfiction like Shrek, where there's a surprising amount of lack of Shrek in the fanfiction.
You're saying that this Narnia fanfiction needs Shrek? Because I agree, Narnia would have been good if it had Shrek in it.
Narnia takes itself really seriously. They just imagine having a sarcastic Shrek in the background.
That would be rather funny.
The lion is God.
Shrek sarcastically mocking God.
Oh dear.
I have to look up atheist Shrek to see if anything happens.
Honestly, my favorite thing is the fact that one of oh god, I forgot Tolkien. One of Tolkien's criticisms of the Narnia series is the fact that the satyr wasn't horny enough. because it wasn't mythologically accurate.
Huh.
Oh god.
But why?
I don't...
With how his chin sucked into his neck there, he kind of looks like one. Chapter 1, for the most part, is word for word exactly how it happened in this scene of the movie. I wish to death.
Do you need... Wait, is it my line? Not to write the
No.
pairing?
Mm-mm.
When they're all getting ready to leave for Narnia, their mission is also the same. Let me make myself personally clear, though. I have nothing to do with any of the characters, and I am no way associated with C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia. No one's assuming you are.
Maybe someone has in the past. Maybe she's just trying to make sure she crosses her T's and dots her I's.
What is it with these people and assuming that people are going to think that their fan fiction is made by someone who is associated with the original series?
This is probably to avoid getting a cease and desist. Like,
Maybe.
this isn't real. Please don't sue me in a court of law. I usually... Like, this reminds me of, like, the Team 4 Stars beginning things where, like, the following is a fan-based parody, yada, 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 so they don't get sued.
There's a difference between that and the fact that they're also more high profile. Typically, if something's posted on fanfiction.net...
Well, to be fair, Team 4-Star stuff is posted on YouTube.
Yes, but again, not posted on fanfiction.net. You know, the site where everything there is expected to be using something else.
Yeah, but I'm also trying not to underestimate the stupidity of the other users on there getting angry and going "re" all the time.
We're talking about YouTube? Because
No, on fanfiction.net. Like, maybe that's a problem. I don't know. I've never written on fanfiction.net. I'm trying to give this author the benefit of the doubt here. That's what I'm doing.
Like, if I'm reading something that is stated to be a fan fiction, my immediate thought is, okay, they aren't going to own any of these characters except for maybe the main character who is just supposed to be themselves.
I'm looking at the terms of service for fanfiction.net right now.
Mhm.
And in the copyright policy, it says, as part of fanfiction.net's copyright policy, fanfiction.net may terminate users' access to the service if a user has been determined to be an infringer. So I think because some of these fanfictions follow along the actual story so much, it's not really like, you know, these stories about people self-inserting their characters into fanfiction and leaving it word for word like the other group. That might be considered infringement. So if they're doing word for word stuff like this, I think that's why they put it in. You know?
I'm trying to figure out just how close to the story you have to get for it to be infringement.
Copyright law is really confusing about that. If this was like a fan fiction that was way more popular and they're trying to sell it, that's probably when it would start to infringe on stuff.
Selling it is one thing. It's kind of the whole thing of like fucking 50 Shades. It was Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah.
So when that started getting sold, that's when all the shit had, like all the serial numbers had to be filed off.
Yeah.
Of course, fucking Erica Mitchell's refusal to have anything change means that you never actually had any character establishing moments because it was fan fiction. You just assumed the characterization to basically be that of Edward and Bella, so you didn't really need a character establishing moment.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. I'm trying to figure out what exactly on this site constitutes infringement. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe if you infringe on somebody else's fan fiction, stealing from somebody else, that could also be infringement.
That I could get, like if you're stealing other people's OCs, or if you're just straight up wholesale reposting a story.
Original character, do not steal.
Yeah, but even if you look at the like copyright policy part, there's even a section that asks you to tell what part of the country your copyright applies to and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's also a whole thing that's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe it's just something that everyone does, but at this point, the reason is lost, and people are just doing it because everyone else does.
Yeah. 'Cause,
That
like,
also is a possibility.
Like, I'm gonna look at the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm gonna open like the first 3 fan fictions I've seen here and see if anyone else has infringement stuff.
'cause my immediate thought would just be a whole thing of, hey, this is the story this is from. I own these characters. Have a nice read. But it's the whole thing of, I need to make this explicitly clear. I don't own this. That's. Anyway, the only character I do own is Anne in this story, and only in this story. I'm adding one more sibling to the 4 already.
Oof.
I.
Lovely.
And am making her the oldest. The only difference between this and the movie is that I added a few sentences of my own, and that everything that was done and all the dialogue that was spoken between Caspian and Susan is now between Caspian and Anne.
The only words I'm putting in italic will be Caspian's speech and any time that Aslan says.
Why?
Mm.
The rating is K. My pairing is King Capson X and Annie, aka me.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is. I don't think I've ever actually made like the Mary Sue argument because, in my opinion, it is fucking lazy criticism because you're not actually getting into what about the character is poorly done. But like, I have no issue with the whole thing that it is a self-insert. Like, typically the issue I have is that the self-insert is not well written. You know what I mean?
People like conflict, and Mary Sue's sometimes can't get into proper conflicts.
Or if they try to do conflict, it's all out of the story just to make like themselves seem edgy and deep and failing horribly.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it becomes hilarious.
Summary: with their mission in Narnia complete, the
Pevensies.
Pevensies, with their oldest sister Anne, must now return to London. There's just one problem, though. Caspian has fallen in love with Anne, and to further complicate matters, Anne has fallen in love with Caspian as well. Will she now? Will she now be forced to leave Narnia and the only man she's ever loved? She's a teenager. She can find another. That's sounded dismissive. But I mean, if you're fucking marrying your high school sweetheart, or will she be allowed to stay and one day become his queen, even if, by doing so, it will mean never seeing her family again? So does that mean that in... fucking hell, I am just absolutely exhausted, aren't I? Does that mean that in the fucking Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe version, like this version of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, there were 3 queens and 2 kings?
Probably, yeah.
Was Anne also subjected to Aslan's weird fucking thing about women not supposed to be facing combat?
Maybe? I don't know.
That's the whole thing. If you, in the original version of the speech of like them being given their gifts, it's like, here's a dagger, though you should never use it, as you should never see the front lines because you are woman.
Well, it was Santa Claus who gave her the dagger, so
Point is sexism.
and also she was just they were all kids.
All children.
So, yeah, and I was gonna say they're all kids, so like I kind of wish she would have given the speech to every one of them.
But it's like, yeah, you 2 boys, you get the swords even though one of you's like fucking 12.
Well, Edmund wasn't there. They were looking for Edmund when they got their gifts.
He was given a gift, though.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was given a gift.
Now, Peter just got a shield and a sword. Edmund wasn't there. He was, at that point in time, captive by the White Witch, being held captive.
The fact, though.
Hmm?
He was given a weapon.
Later on, yes, but not a gift from Father Christmas.
That, besides the point. Besides the point of the Turkish man that everyone turned white for some reason. You gonna read your line?
Oh, yeah, it is my line. Whoops.
Yes, Tom.
Everyone, mostly Narnians, but a few Telmarines as well, had gathered in the castle square. They were all very much looking forward to hearing Caspian the 10th's speech, his first since being crowned the new and rightful king of Narnia. Oh my gosh, I don't like the use of italics in this.
Also, I've been looking up why people put the disclaimers in fanfictions. Some people put it in because it's a relic of the past before fanfictions were more mainstream, like just in case people got sued, even though, it's not going to help in a court of law.
Yeah.
Other people who write fanfictions apparently put it in there to give credit to the author in case people don't know who the author is.
I mean, giving credit to the author is one thing. Hey, this is based on a book written by this person.
And the last one is that it perhaps inflates the word count.
That would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Narnia belongs to the Narnians, just as it does to man. Any Telmarines who want to stay and live in peace are welcome to, but for any of you who wish, Aslan will return you to the home of your forefathers.
It's been generations since we left Telmar.
Ah, so is a librarian here?
Hello there.
Oh, fuck.
Crawling over people in the crowd.
You think you're safe over universes? Think again!
You forgot to return your library book.
It's overdue. Time passes different in these realities.
A librarian should become a recurring character.
It's been several years from my perspective. That's a lot of library fees.
Oh my god. I'm fine.
Llytic, for whenever you do a campaign, I want the library to be an NPC in it at some point in time.
You want the librarian to appear in the Planeswalker campaign.
That would be actually awesome.
Oh my god, is she a planeswalker?
So that means that there's gonna be 3 fucking callbacks to things.
And a fun and memorable NPC.
Oh yeah. Does that mean I'm gonna have to come up with a stat block for her in case one of you pulls something?
I'm not going to pull anything, but
I don't want to fuck with that thing.
But there's also going to be Kyle and Jess.
Good point.
Kyle might.
I was gonna say, do you trust Kyle not to pick a fight with the librarian?
Actually, no, I don't, because he won't be reading. Let's be real.
Oh god, just have it to where she's like actually some unkillable eldritch entity, like startled. I swing my sword, catches it.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of this one character I've made a recurring character in some of my campaigns I ran for my cousins, was the barkeeper. He was this dude who, like, no matter what happened, if he was killed, he would come back like 24 hours later without any repercussions. They could just kill him as many times as he wanted, and he wouldn't care. But if they did disrupt his bar or try to steal from him, he would roughly throw them out.
I'm just imagining like someone swings their sword at the librarian, just effortlessly catches it between catches the blade between 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Can I help you?
Either that or just the sword just sinks into her face and they get stuck and they can't pull it out. Then it just gets absorbed into her.
Passes through as though she's not there.
Either that or they lose a weapon.
I don't know, imagine it passes through as though she's not there, and then she grabs a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh fuck. Which is she? It's your line, Tom.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Caspian looked at Aslan as if to let him explain what he meant.
We're not referring to Telmar. Your ancestors were seafaring brigands. Pirates run around on an island. Aground on an island. There we go.
Yes.
There they found a cave, a rare chasm that brought them here from their world, the same world as our kings and queens. You said, looking over at where Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy stood.
Apparently, Anne wasn't one of them.
Yeet. She's just so much older than them. They're like, hey, she's not that cool. We're going to go into the closet without her.
The next line. Okay, here we go.
No, oh, I haven't finished my line.
Yeah.
Next to all of them stood their oldest sister, Anne. Fuck. Who had joined them on this particular adventure. Shit, she is here. God damn it.
So apparently Anne didn't get to go with him through the wardrobe, but did go with him through the painting?
That's
the painting.
No, that was the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That was like
Okay, then it was the train station.
yes.
No. She came on the pirate ship with the pirates.
Yeah, no. This
that would've been
okay.
the painting.
In Prince Caspian, Prince Caspian blew Susan's horn, which called for aid, which dragged them from across their world and just dumped them to where their Car Parvel used to be.
In the movie version, at the very least, they were in a train station or a subway station.
Yes, and that's where they got dragged from when the horn called them. That was the movie.
One of
yeah,
them had it to where they went through a painting onto a ship.
that was the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
It is to that island I can return you. It is a good place for any of you to wish to make a new start. Please don't ask why I didn't participate in any of the battles in the previous iteration. Even though I could have won them in an instant.
Another voice spoke up from the crowd. I'll go. Caspian looked up to see who had spoken, and was surprised to see none other than General Glozell, who up until very recently had sided with his now deceased uncle Miraz. I will accept the offer. Caspian nodded to him, and he nodded back before walking forward.
Sorry. So will we? Caspian looked up again, this time seeing his aunt Pruna Prismia with her son and her father. They, all with General Glozell, stepped forward and walked up to Aslan.
Because you have spoken first, your future in that world shall be good. He blew on them. Ew. I don't care if you're a fucking deity. Back the fuck up. Eat a fucking breath mint. Christ.
He's a lion. He probably does.
He just blows bubbles at them.
And then turned and faced two trees, which parted, revealing the chasm. All of them walked towards it and then just disappeared. Dead.
They're walking into a grinder.
Atomized.
This obviously shocked just about everyone there.
A riot happened. How do we know he's not leading us to our death? Another voice from the crowd yelled out.
He did. He is. Just then, Reaper Cheap stepped forward. Sire, if my example can be of any service, I will take 11 mice through with no delay.
As he said that, Peter glanced over at Susan before Aslan looked over at all of them.
We'll go, said Peter.
We will? asked Edmund. Peter, the actual fuck.
Come on, our time's up. Come on, our time's up, Peter replied, walked over to where Caspian stood. After all, we're not really needed here anymore. Upon saying that, he took his sword and handed it over to the new king.
Later, bitch.
Was Peter the one that joined the White Witch?
No, that's Edmund.
Okay, so instead of doubting Thomas, it's doubting Edmund. Got it.
Caspian took the sword in his right hand and looked Peter right in the eyes. I will look after it until you return.
I'm afraid that's just it, Susan piped in. We're not coming back. Not until the one that's basically about the rapture.
As soon as she's... Yeah, that's the last battle. As soon as she said that, he turned and gazed over at Anne, who gladly returned his gaze. She and her cousins hadn't been there very long, but in the time they had, the two of them had grown really close really fast. I don't like the use of italics.
Really close and really
And before marriage, God beams come out of Aslan's face and disintegrate them.
He knew that life was full of certainties and uncertainties as well. Good Lord, stop using italics.
No.
It wasn't the uncertainties that really mattered to him, though. It was the one thing he knew for absolute certain, and that was that he loved her, she loved him, and that they both wanted nothing more than to spend the rest of their lives together. Now he was faced with the very real possibility he would never see her again, and that just about killed him inside.
He keeled over, dead.
It really was too much for him.
Roll credits.
We're
I mean,
not,
this is the
Lucy
end of the
asked.
movie, technically.
Looking over at Susan.
You two are, Peter said, looking at Edmund and Lucy. At least I think he means you two.
A questioning look came over Lucy's face. But why? Did they do something wrong?
Yes.
Head holding.
Quite the opposite, dear one. Oh wait, fuck. Can't do the voice. Aslan replies. But all things have their time. Your brother and sisters have learned that have learned what they can from this world. Now it's time for them to live in their own.
Aslan suddenly turned into an old lady with very long arms and legs. Your books are overdue.
That is why you must return. Give me your books.
Return the books to the library. You know which ones.
The librarian is more powerful than God.
Oh God.
You think that 10,000 years is a long time to exist? It's nothing.
Not but a blink of the eye.
Unless you have overdue books, and then it's a very long time.
Billions upon billions, my children. Peter walked over to Lucy. It's all right, Lou. It's not how I thought it would be, but it's all right. One day you'll see too. Come on. He, Lucy, and Edmund then headed over to say goodbye to Professor Cornelius, Trumpkin, and Glintstorm, the Centaur, but Susan and Anne hung back. Now all I'm thinking about is in fucking, the Divine Comedy, in which it's revealed that apparently all the Centaurs are in hell.
Why is Trump in this fanfiction?
No, Trumpkin.
Yeah, kin of Trump. So why is his son here?
You know,
They all bowed before Peter shook hands with Glintstorm, and Lucy hugged Trumpkin. I think Trumpkin was a badger, actually.
What?
Hang on a sec. I'm going to look this up.
Trumpkin.
Bow before me, peasants.
How come Trumpkin brings up a pumpkin with Trump's face on it?
Nope.
Okay,
Trumpkin's a dwarf.
I was about to say, it sounds like a dwarf name.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's a dwarf.
What was the badger's name?
Oh fuck! Sorry. I ate the entirety of Narnia before we read this, and it's making me sick.
Truffle Hunter. That was the badger's name. Sorry.
Caspian and Annie's eyes met, and she walked over to him.
Sorry, I'm just imagining like some of the different like Aslan lines with the librarian. Don't cite the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. Aslan, it's just like the fucking librarian looming over the White Witch.
I was there when it was written. There's a copy in the library.
Because the only way I could imagine the librarian with like the way we've ended up setting her up is like a hornless, like two-armed version of how I designed Queerthanok. Like without the tail, the extra arms, or the horns, or the long neck. So just these disturbingly long arms.
Well, of course, she needs long arms to reach to the top of the bookshelf. And long arms so she can reach down without having to bend over and hurt her back.
Just imagining like the proportions of like the God, have either of you like either played or watched a playthrough of Resident Evil 7?
No.
No.
Oh God, like one of the enemies, basically after you defeat everyone, they like mutate.
Mm-hmm.
So like when she mutates, she ends up turning into like this bug-like thing. So she has like these really long arms and legs and is just crawling around the walls and stuff. That's how I'm imagining the librarian. Either that or like that one Thomas the Tank Engine picture where he has like arms and legs. You know the one I'm talking about.
I think so, but I'm also imagining a Team Fortress 2 SFM.
No, not that one.
Yeah, I think I do know which one you're talking about. I'm not sure though.
The fact that I can like I started searching Thomas the Tank Engine monster, and one of the autocompletes was Monster Hunter World.
I mean, there's Thomas the Dragon.
There's a mod where you replace the entirety of the Nergigante with just a static model of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, they did that in Skyrim.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Honestly, it's funnier to me with the Nergigante because it's like the Nergigante's dive bomb, but it's just Thomas the Tank Engine plummeting out of the sky at you.
Yeah, that's still terrifying, but
exploding.
Just has the cheerful little whistle when it comes in.
Choo choo.
I can't find the specific one I'm looking for. Because he has like these disgustingly long fingers and shit too.
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah. That fucking mod. Oh god, there is just... I can't find that specific meme. Fuck. Because that's how I'm imagining like the Librarian's stature. Just looming over the White Witch. And all of these people. I'm glad I came back.
I wish we had more time together, he replied, both of them now looking deeply into each other's eyes.
Looking deeply into my eyes. Also, apparently Anne was here before. God, my voice keeps cracking. It was a long few days.
What's my line?
She paused very briefly.
She paused very briefly. We'd never have worked anyway.
Oh, good. Why not?
I am 1,300 years older than you.
And you look damn fine despite it, babe. Woo!
Nice.
Sorry. As soon as she said that, a teeny yet forced smile came across his face.
Great.
He's into older people.
Again, now I'm just imagining like that one good line from one of the Twilight movies. Older woman, nice. Just one of Edward's brothers, since like Bella was biologically older than Edward in that one. She was 18 and he was turned when he was 17.
That's really right at the age of consent there. Y'all gotta calm down.
Yeah. His brother. Older woman. Nice. That line's not in the book either.
I wonder if that was improv.
Honestly, it would be great if it was. That's one of the things I noticed because I did rewatch the entire Twilight series late last year.
Huh.
And as the movies go on, they get more and more enjoyable because they stopped giving as much of a shit and just started having more fun with it. So like the first one's all like moody and dramatic, and then as it goes on, it gets stupider and stupider. Whose fucking line is it?
Yours, I believe.
Which one?
She turned.
Okay. She turned to walk away, but somehow found herself drawn back to him. Then, before she had time to realize what was happening, she walked back over, laid her right hand on the back of his neck, and kissed him. Yes, it had been brief, but they had both enjoyed it immensely. I don't have time for these virgin shenanigans.
They parted for a second or two before he pulled her into an embrace and buried his head on her shoulder. Her brothers and sister couldn't help but smile as they... Okay, what happened to Lucy? Like, just one
like
sister?
To watch.
Couldn't help but smile as they watched. Hang on a sec.
Aslan, she began. I know you said we all have to go back, but would it be possible for me to stay here? I just enjoy this place much more than I do London, not to mention that I've fallen madly in love with King Caspian here.
Caspian looked at Aslan, a huge smile now starting to form. Gucci, really? He said anxiously.
If it's really what she wants. Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were back.
Yeah, if it's really what she wants, go right ahead.
He turned back to face Anne. Is this really what you want, dear one? You do know if I say yes that you will most likely never see your family again?
Again,
Fuck 'em.
The fact that we've turned Aslan into the librarian. I have usurped God, as it should be.
Now no one will ever be late. No one will ever give me over to books ever again.
No book shall be late from here on out.
That is the only rule.
It's like, oh, hey, yeah, I probably should get around to turning this book. Oh, God, what am I doing here? You just phase shift into the library.
Well, that's convenient. Here you go.
Been
I
expecting
see you
you.
come to return your book. Is that what I'm doing here?
Yes, it is due. Today.
But I checked this book out in New York. I live in Oklahoma. Well, that's your problem now.
It is due, child. Find your own way back.
They just walk outside and with a really confused look on their face, just like, where the fuck am I?
I don't know why. I really want to have it to where, like, in the Unmasked series, there's reference to one child of Queerthanok who runs a library.
God damn it.
Oh, God. Have it to where it's a library at the same school that Mephistopheles teaches at.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my sister runs the library here. It is time to return your books. Children, studying the dark arts doesn't mean that you can't be punctual. And my brother teaches you how to talk to animals and control the weather.
Well, then maybe you could tell one of those animals to bring me your damn books.
Yes, and as much as I do love all my family very much, I would really much rather live here, spend the rest of my life with the man I love. Well, at least we're not starting with at least we don't have to deal with a will they won't they. That would be fucking painful. She and Caspian looked deep into each other's eyes, smiled, and she squeezed his hand tight before they both looked back to face Aslan.
All right, you may stay, but only you. No sooner had those words left his mouth than Caspian picked her up, twirled her around in his arms after he had set her back down, and both his arms wrapped around behind her and both hers around his. They leaned in for a triumphant kiss. Also, we are getting ready to leave right now, so I'm going to have to duck out of chat real quick. So if y'all want to finish
Real
the
quick?
chapter,
You're leaving?
if y'all want to finish the chapter, that's fine, but I got to leave now, so
Okay.
yeah.
Also,
I
with
will.
that line, I'm just imagining that, like, the librarian poking her in the forehead. But only you!
Poke.
Sorry, I have to go, like, now, so...
Go.
All right,
Oh,
see y'all.
already then.
Leave.
Fuck.
Bye, sorry!
Like when you're trying to get a stray dog to leave you the fuck alone because you can't keep it because you don't have the money to feed it.
Yeah. Tom's a dog.
Yes.
Alright, so you just want to try to finish this chapter then?
I mean, we could try to go for, like, a full episode length. Also, that's the picture I was talking about.
Oh, I've seen this a lot.
Yes.
Strangely enough, I usually see this picture when people are asking about iFunny watermarks.
I'm just imagining, like, limbs like those on the library.
So she can't skitter across the roof anymore?
No, she can.
Oh, how?
I'm just saying that her limbs are, like, ridiculously long in proportion to her body.
Yeah. Just, she's part of the long arm gang, you know.
7. Let me see if I can find the specific, like, character in Resident Evil. Not Jack Baker. Also, it's your line.
Oh, yeah!
Marguerite Baker. Marguerite Baker.
Children, unfortunately. Oh, man. What's my line?
unfortunately.
Fortunately, her happiness about getting to stay was about to be cut short as she saw Aslan turn and face her brothers and sisters.
Okay, I need to find one of the pictures I'm looking for. I always forget that, like, part of the body horror with this one is that they made it to where she has, like, this weird hive thing on her crotch.
Ew.
Yeah, and so you have, like, fucking, like, infected bugs flying out of her.
Ah, gross.
Yeah. Yeah. You can still crawl around skitter around on the walls.
I'm just picturing, like... What the fuck? Oh, this is Resident Evil 7, yeah. I watched somebody play this a while ago.
Honestly, it is kind of tragic, just, like, what happened with that family. Because they seemed like good people if you, like, look at the stuff from before they all got infected.
Yeah.
And then that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kid was always a fucking monster. Like, their kid.
Their son, you mean, right?
Yeah. Not Zoe. Other one. Because
Yeah.
it's mentioned that he, like, at one point locked, like, another kid in the attic where the kid starved to death.
Yikes. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Real fucked up. Like, it's also revealed, like, if you look at the files and stuff, that he's separated from the little girl's control.
He's separated?
Yeah, basically, like one of those other companies ended up, like, managing to give him something to get him separated, and so he was, like, taking notes and, like, transferring information to them regarding, like, the whole thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So he wasn't under her control. He was just like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. Children, I know you don't want to, but it really is time for you to go. To return your books to the library.
That is how I shall return you to your world! Through the library!
They're just, like, all, like, launched out of a return slot in a library. Like a book return, they're just launched out of it. I will give you all a few minutes to say your goodbyes, though.
Okay, a few minutes have passed. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All the men not wanting to look like a bunch of sissies in front.
Sorry.
All the true men not wanting to look like a bunch of sissies in front of so many people simply hugged, clapped each other on the back, and wished each other well. The girls, on the other hand, just started crying because they're girls.
You know, I don't typically, like, feel the need to go after the author, but Ariel Ann won. What the fuck?
Yeah, come on.
Fuck off. Just fuck off. Don't you start that shit. We really will miss you, Anne, Susan said, hugging her older sister. I hope you two will be very happy together. They divorced less than a year later.
And now she was stuck there.
It turns out that he was kind of like Henry VIII. Immediately the whole thing is Henry VIII was the guy that was known for going through wives like it was nothing. He created the Church of England because the Catholic Church wouldn't let him divorce again.
They're like, sir, you gotta calm down.
Yeah. He was also known for becoming so paranoid as he got older that he would have his bedroom door bricked up every night to prevent someone from assassinating him.
I remember you telling me about that.
He also exploded in his casket after he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exploded in his casket?
Yeah, basically it's the whole thing of he was a very, very large man. He was known for being, like, wider than he was tall, basically. because he ate
So
that
some
much.
fat fuckboy went around trying to divorce wives a bunch.
Because none of them were giving sons. They kept having daughters. But
Did he ever actually have a son? I forgot.
don't think so, though he might have with his last wife. But basically what happened after his death is that with how large he was, like the whole thing is your body bloats after you die from buildup of gases as your innards decompose.
Yeah.
And with how large he was, a lot of pressure built up, and his body basically exploded, blowing open his casket as it hadn't been buried yet, and a bunch of stray dogs found his corpse and ate it. Yeah.
Was he just too fat to carry to his casket?
It was, if memory serves, it was a whole thing of like there's time between like when you're putting your casket and when you're buried. And
Yeah.
so it was a whole thing of that. Is his body was like prepared for burial, but it wasn't being buried yet.
And the fucker just exploded when no.
Yep.
I'd feel sorry if I was the person like responsible for burying him because that would have looked really bad on me.
Imagine if you were part of that kingdom at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, our old king has died. Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. Our old king exploded after his death. I'm sorry, what?
What do you mean he exploded? Were there demons inside of him?
Did he become a vampire and just gorge himself? Because that was another thing, is that the part of the whole thing of how the myth of the vampire began was because of said bloating. Because what it would also do is, aside from the bloating causing someone to look like they had just gorged themselves, is it would also force blood to come out, force blood out of the mouth and nose.
Oh, alright.
As well as the shrinking of the skin around the body would cause it to seem that the nails and hair had grown.
Yeah.
And so, like, oh shit, this guy has gorged himself with what looks to be blood. Be a vampire. Stab him during the day. This also being aided by the fact that corpses that bloat have it to where air is being forced out of them.
Yeah.
Making it seem as though they're, like, moaning or breathing.
Man, it must have been wild back in the day.
I mean, this was also the time when it was thought that if you sneezed, your soul came out of your body.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the whole thing of saying bless you in the West came from. It was like, oh shit, we gotta get their soul back in.
Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you.
Basically.
People must have been scared of sneezing.
People were scared of a lot of shit. The Catholic Church at the time was telling them basically that before they went into heaven, they had to do a waiting torture.
Awaiting torture?
Purgatory.
That was supposed to be torture? Huh.
Purgatory was a place of torture, basically. So it was like, yeah, you ain't going to heaven yet. You see, there's a little bit of stuff you have to atone for. So you're going to go to purgatory for a few years, get tortured there, and then you get to go to paradise. Unless you pay the church a certain amount of money to get out of it.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and like the history of this sort of stuff is something I always find fun.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole thing of like werewolves. It was while you were cursed into being a werewolf, you were also thoroughly tortured for it too.
Wait, what?
Basically, it was a whole thing of like the ways you became a werewolf, like in an old-timey sense, was either through like a deal with a demon, or basically you got subjected to a curse. Regardless, once they found out that you were a werewolf, they would figure this out by torturing you to death.
Great. Another convenient thing that kills you.
Yeah. There's also the fact that the way that they like killed witches and stuff like that was meant to be kind of similar to like the Saw series, a way that made it to where they weren't technically responsible for killing you. So, like, you test to see if someone's a witch by tying them into a chair and throwing them into a lake. If they drowned, it's because the water, which is supposed to be holy and pure, did not reject them. But if they end up getting out, the water rejected them, they're a witch, murder them. And so, if they drown, well, we didn't kill them. We just tied them to a chair and threw them in a lake.
They should have been able to get out themselves.
And it's the same thing like in the Saw series, where it's like, well, Jigsaw doesn't actually murder anyone. He just puts them in these scenarios where they have no chance of surviving.
Yeah.
What fucking line are we on?
Who fucking knows?
A few minutes to say your goodbyes. That one. Yeah, it's your line. Thanks, Sue.
Thanks, Sue. I know we will.
Next, turn to Lucy. It's gonna be all right, Lou. Cipher. I promise. No. We may not always be together physically, but wrong one. Or you just you accidentally put 2 apostrophes there. Okay. But I'll always love you, and you'll always be in my heart. Always.
What sound does an apostrophe make?
I don't know, but being as there 2, do I just, like, put a pause in there? Because that's not a quotation mark. The quotation marks are closer together.
Yeah, and if you look at it, they're both, like, you see the 2 at the end?
Yeah.
They're facing the same way as the other 2, even though a computer would have corrected that.
Well, fanfic, it depends on the font.
Alright. Lucy was still crying a little, but did manage to say, I love you always. They hugged each other tightly before she turned to face Edmund.
I may not have always said this, Anne, but you really are a wonderful big sister. You've always made the right decisions.
Exposition dump.
Also, talking like siblings never do. And whatever you've done, and I must say, you really picked a winner with Caspian.
At least she's admitting that this is a self-insert, so at least she's just,
Yeah, again, my issue is always the fact that they write themselves poorly. Either they make themselves look like unlikable jackasses, or they don't really give themselves actual character flaws.
Yeah.
Unlike sometimes what you see in D&D, in which a person puts their own flaws in there as some weird form of therapy.
Yeah.
Like if Zane were to make a really insecure character.
Or just super depressed in general character? Oh god. Oh my gosh. Alright, this has been fun. I like the fact that we're a party, but I'm done socializing today. Goodbye, party. Leaves the session permanently.
Is that what I'm gonna have to look forward to with your planeswalker?
No. No.
This entire thing of everyone trying to help them get through their depression.
No, this is just gonna be Ruru, but instead of having a penchant for stealing, it's gonna be a penchant for murdering fish.
Oh god. We'll say, I'm also thinking about whether or not I should have it to where instead of starting on Ravnica, it starts on Ixalan. It depends on whether or not Kyle makes his where Kyle's character's from.
Yes, Kyle, the big dumb, the one who causes lots of problems, is the reason we might go to a different plane.
Well, okay, it's the whole thing of like either you have the advanced Magitech Society that is on the brink of a civil war at all times, or the place with dinosaurs.
Which do we want to fuck with? Dinosaurs or Civil War?
Yeah. Dinosaurs are magically engineered super soldiers and numerous kinds of explosives. And abusive military police.
Yeah.
And an organization that one of the things that happens is if you can't pay off your debts by the time you die, your ghost is basically stuck in indentured servitude.
Let's not go there.
Ravnica's a fun place.
No. No thanks.
I mean, that all depends on how terrible your gambling gets. I need money. All right, we'll just need you to give your soul.
Anne had stopped crying a few minutes before, but this got her started all over again. Thanks, Ed. She let out a little laugh. I'm glad you approve, and I really will miss you too. They hugged as well before she finally turned to face Peter.
Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter. I'm in Narnia. Peter.
Fuck me. As much as I wish you were coming home with us, I completely understand why you'd rather stay here. It really is a very beautiful place, and you have a man you love to share it with. You know, it would have been nice if they had any sort of like chemistry beforehand. That would have been.
Yeah. It's been generic shit so far.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that we don't have to deal with a will they, won't they. But at least some establishment so they're not just garroted by the red string of fate.
Yeah.
That's supposed to attach to your pinkies, not around your throat. Japanese folklore reference.
Dun dun.
Yep. Let's see, where the fuck? Ed's right though. Caspian is a winner. I feel jealous of him. I wish I was dating my older sister.
What the fuck? That's not a line, right? That can't be a line.
No. It's just really weird how much they're just hyping up their sister.
Yeah, this is the kind of like self-insert things that I don't like when it's just like, I'm perfect! Everyone loves me!
It's the whole thing. One of the important things in writing is to make sure that you don't make it to where you can accidentally don't make it to where readers can accidentally misconstrue things horribly.
I just figured out the perfect fanfiction I want to write.
Oh dear God. But like the whole thing is the fact that like your boyfriend's really lucky to have you, sister. That feels weird. That feels vaguely incestuous.
Yeah.
Only the best for our big sister. I love you, Anne. I really do. Never forget that.
I'll always love you, sister. And only I will ever love you.
One-san.
No one will love you as much as I love you, sister.
Oh, God.
Oh shit. Did I fuck my computer up? Uh-oh.
Please don't fuck your computer.
I said fuck it up, not fuck it.
I'm just thinking about that one thing of like, so like, why is it that they never translate Oni-chan into English? Come over to the bed, brother.
Come on, brother.
Right now I can think about his fucking Hulk Hogan.
What are we going to do on the bed, brother?
What are you doing, brother?
Not that whole brother. All right, sorry.
Oh God.
What's my line? My computer fucked up for a bit.
Couple of minutes.
A couple minutes, not to mention a few tears, slid down her face before she was able to speak again.
Sentence structure.
I love you too, and don't you forget it either. With me here, that makes you two oldest, so I want you to take good care of all of them, and mom and dad too. They'll probably ask where I am. Just tell them that I really am in the best possible place.
Oh God, she died.
She's in the closet. and that am following my heart, just like they always told me to do. Most of all, though, just tell them how much I do love them, and that I always will.
Now I'm just thinking about someone making a retelling of The Lion, the Witch, of the Wardrobe, and it's actually just a massive coming out analogy. We took this thing that was basically just like Christian fiction, and we turned it gay.
Yay!
Nice.
My favorite kind of gay. Christian gay.
The Lion, the Witch, in the Closet.
But yeah, I want to write a fan fiction where like I have a self-insert character that's just me, right?
Uh,
But like it's one of those places like in Narnia where everyone goes to the other world, right?
uh.
It's not about me going to that world. It's about me wondering where the fuck all my friends went so suddenly.
It was like there is the whole thing in a story. Your main characters are technically the chosen one, not necessarily in a supernatural sense, but in a storytelling sense.
Yeah.
The issue is when you fuck that up. You can't have it to where like the main character is the person doing everything. Yes, they do need to be the person that contributes the most to the progress of the story. They need to be the person that has like technically the largest impact, but you can't have it to where they're the only one calling the shots.
Yeah.
And that is, I do feel that that is the issue where a lot of writers go wrong, is that they either have it to where the main character does too much, or they do too little.
Huh. Like in my fan fiction where the plot is literally going to be revolving around either A, me figuring out what the fuck they're doing, or or B, me misconstruing everything horribly, like my friend
Yeah.
coming back with a black eye and I think he got beat by someone.
Oh yeah, but even then, like you could do that well of like they're investigating. They're finding out about the supernatural world. Like, what the fuck?
What did you get a sword? What do you mean? What sword?
Like
This? This is my grandfather's.
like you
You
could
told
do
me
that
your
well.
grandfather worked in World War II. As a soldier. He wouldn't have a sword, he'd have a gun. Dumb stuff like that. Anyways,
Yeah,
sorry.
but like that is the important thing, is that the main character, or at the very least, the primary characters. You can't have it to where like multiple characters technically contribute equally if you are bouncing between them.
Yeah.
Like you need to have it to where those are the people that are contributing the most to the story, but you also don't want to have it to where they're basically just doing everything and all like the side characters just kind of take a back seat to their shit.
Then they start to lose development and you'll end up with like Krillin.
Yeah,
Or Yamcha.
I was about to say, no, Krillin ended up basically being revealed that he is technically like able to keep pace with like a mid-level Saiyan, just because he got that used to being into those kinds of fights.
He can beat, I think he's like matched up at least, or can maybe beat a non-Super Saiyan.
Yeah, because it's the whole thing of like Frieza's army. Whenever he came back as Golden Frieza, wasn't able to touch him
Yeah.
because he was that used to high-level fights that all the grunts were like just nothing to him.
Yeah.
So like Krillin's not like overly weak compared to Goku, yes,
Yeah.
but everyone's that way compared to Goku
Yeah.
within Dragon Ball. Let's see, where the fuck? All right, there we go. I will, and I promise. Said Peter said, giving his sister one last hug. They parted, and she walked back to where Caspian was. She snuggled up against him, laying her right hand on his chest, and he wrapped his right arm around her. Just then, Peter walked back over and laid a hand on Caspian's shoulder. Take care of her, okay? She's our sister, and we don't want anything bad to happen to her.
He looked at Peter right in the eyes. I promise with all my heart, and I love her more than life itself, and I would rather die than see anything happen to her. He looked down at her and kissed her. Before looking back up.
And now I'm just thinking about the whole thing of the biblical roles in a relationship, and I'm very much uncomfortable.
My only solace I can give you is to not think about it, but that doesn't really work, so sucks to be you.
Yeah. Nah. Okay, where the fuck? Anything, where the, no. You're a good Caspian, man, you really are. Peter clapped him on the shoulder one more time before turning and joining his other brothers and sisters.
They all glanced back at Caspian and Anne and smiled before turning and walking through the chasm. Yes, it was hard to see them go, but she knew in her heart that she really had done the right thing.
Okay. I guess that's where we'll leave this one.
Yeah.
It has been a little bit over an hour.
Tune in next time where hopefully Llytic gets out of the well.
Join us next time where hopefully this main character has character.
Nah, probably they're just gonna smash or something.
In my good Christian fic, good. Anyway.
Don't forget, yeah.
Yeah. Special thank you to Destiny Baird for donating to our Patreon. If you'd like to get a shout out, as well as possibly a few other perks, consider donating to our Patreon. There's a link in the description. You can get your name on screen for as little as $1 a month, or me to say your name for as little as $5.
All right, so
If that's where we're ending it.
yeah, meet me under the bridge. I'll hook you up.